Hi there, my name is Lily Chan. I am an acupuncturist and practitioner of TCM, or traditional Chinese medicine. Old school. Remember these? Right over the ticker. Today we are going to look at the heart, its functions, properties, and correspondences in Oriental medicine, and its connection to the mind or psyche, which is my preferred translation of the Chinese term Shen. More on that later. There will also be a few words on human anatomy, but nothing gross, I promise, and a tip for relieving insomnia, so stick around. Let's dive in. The heart in traditional Chinese medicine is considered the emperor or king of the internal organs. When the emperor is unwell and governs erratically, the land and its people suffer. Likewise, when the heart fails to pump oxygen-rich blood to the brain and body, organ failure and death may follow. In this way, the function of the heart, according to both traditional Chinese medicine and conventional Western medicine, is the same. The heart is primarily responsible for blood circulation. However, there are some important differences too, such as the frequent use of metaphor and symbols to describe and define in the East that has no equivalent in the West. To begin, the heart corresponds to fire in the five-element theory, which also includes the elements of earth, metal, water, and wood. Five-element or five-phase theory, as it is otherwise known, is one of the foundational principles of this healing system. Fire is represented by the color red and is said to flare upward, as opposed to water, which usually flows downstream due to the effects of gravity. Thus, a person with a TCM diagnosis of heart fire may have a red face, an example of fire metaphorically blazing up to the top of the body, as well as palpitations, because the heart is hot and bothered, so to speak, and insomnia because it's much harder to fall asleep when your heart is racing or pounding. The heart in TCM is also related to joy, but this king of organs is privy and susceptible to all human emotions. There is, in fact, a temporary condition known as broken heart syndrome, aka stress cardiomyopathy, amongst other names, that can be triggered by physical or emotional stress, such as a bad breakup, the death of a beloved partner or pet, a car accident or surgery. Even a joyful event like winning the lottery can be too much for the heart to handle and cause dysfunction. In BHS specifically, the person experiences symptoms similar to a heart attack because the heart muscle weakens from a surge of stress hormones, it is believed, and the lower half, Most often, the left ventricle of the heart balloons out and loses the ability to pump blood effectively, resulting in chest pain, shortness of breath, sweating, and a host of other symptoms that mimic a heart attack. This is why stress management is disease management and prevention, and largely why cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer in the United States and the world at large. There is nothing certain in life but death and taxes, according to Ben Franklin. I brazenly add a third certainty: stress. I am not an MD and have gone on a bit about some views of cardiology held today. And although I read diligently about modern medicine, my training is in traditional healing methods and modalities of the East, which may still have something to offer about the care of the human body and mind, in spite of some inaccuracies and incompleteness, as all science and medical knowledge continually evolve. For example, the heart in TCM is said to control sweat and to open to the tongue. Have you noticed incidentally your heart beating faster when you perspire, pump iron, row, climb, or spin cycle your way to a fine physique? Do you stutter or speak a mile a minute when you're anxious or nervous, like when you give a speech in public, or when you film your first YouTube video long form? Notice any sweaty palms or pits when your anxiety is up the yin-yang? It's likely due to the involvement and reaction of the heart. Most importantly, the heart is said to be the home of the Shen, spelled S-H-E-N, which is often translated as mind in Chinese medicine and sometimes as spirit. This is a notable departure from Western or biomedicine, and as such, the king of internal organs is often implicated in mental or psycho-emotional issues, such as mania or depression, as well as memory problems and insomnia, because the mind is usually affected in these situations. One of the best acupuncture points, or acupoints, for the treatment of insomnia is known as Heart-Shen, or Shenmen in Mandarin, which means mind gate or mind door, meaning this point provides access for calming the mind to allow for faster and more restorative sleep. Heart-Shen is located on the inner side of the wrist, just below the transverse or horizontal wrist crease here. Okay, bear with me for a sec while I get a little anatomical here. There are two bones of the forearm, the ulna and the radius. The ulna, spelled U-L-N-A, runs from the elbow to the wrist on the pinky side. And the radius, as in 1/2 diameter from geometry class, remember? That runs from the elbow to the wrist on the side of the thumb. Heart-Shen, or Shenmen, is located below the transverse wrist crease, on the radial or thumb side of the tendon of the muscle known as the flexor carpi ulnaris. Say what, Lily? You heard me. The flexor muscle of the wrist originating from the ulna bone of the forearm. Only in Latin, of course, as muscles often have Latin names that explain what they do and where they are located. Trust me, I'm a bona fide word nerd. And did I mention an ex-Latin teacher? Okay, let's recap. To locate acupoint Heart-Shen, we have to locate 1, the transverse wrist crease. Check. And 2, the tendon of the FU. Naughty girl! I mean FCU muscle. To accomplish task number 2, it may help to flex and extend your wrist slowly, like so. Next, place the thumb of your other hand below the pinky finger. Drag it down to just below the wrist crease while bending your wrist forwards and backwards. You will feel something like a rope or cord right here. This is the tendon of the FCU muscle, and acupoint Heart-Shen is located next to the tendon on the side closer to the thumb, aka the radial side, because it's on the side closer to the radius bone. So, pretend my phone stylus here is the tendon. Heart-Shen would be located right here, next to the tendon on the radial or thumb side, below the transverse wrist crease. Beep. And boop. Give yourselves a hand. Congrats. You've just located one of about 300 garden variety run-of-the-mill acupoints of the regular acupuncture channels. Not to scare you, but there's even more, as the infomercial goes. This acupuncture point is known as Heart-Shen because it is the 7th point on the acupuncture channel or pathway directly associated with the heart, which, by the way, runs externally from the armpit down the arm and palm and ends at the pinky here, bilaterally, because we've got a pair of each, pits, palms, pinkies. Acupuncturists use this point to treat symptoms like chest pain, palpitations, and insomnia. So the next time you have trouble falling asleep, especially if it's been an ongoing or chronic issue, give yourself a little massage right here on either or on both sides of the wrist. Apply gentle circular pressure for a few, say 2 to 4 minutes. You should not feel any pain, numbness, or tingling, but this may not be appropriate if you have carpal tunnel syndrome, OA or RA of the wrist, or other issues or injuries affecting the wrist. Use the pads of your thumb and not your nails, because, ouch. And be sure to stop if you feel discomfort or if the acupressure is causing more frustration than relaxation. In clinical practice, this point is usually needled in conjunction with other acupuncture points to achieve full therapeutic effect. Let me know in the comments below if you suffer from insomnia like I do, and what you do that helps or doesn't, so we can all benefit. Let me know also if you would like to see a video demo of Heart-Shen being needled. There are links in the description box below of a few acupoints being needled. In other words, I do acupuncture on myself. Thank you very much for watching QiHowNow. My name is Lily. Please give it a thumbs up if you got a chuckle or learned something. Until the next time, may your chi flourish and flow